Hello and welcome to the Nutrition Diva podcast. I'm your host, Monica Reinagel. Meal replacement products like Soylent and Huel have started to gain a loyal following. But are these all-in-one powders and shakes really a more optimal way to get your nutrition? In today's episode, I'll review the pros and the cons of meal replacement shakes. I'll also compare two of the most popular brands, and I'll give you my personal take on whether or not these products make sense. Emily writes, my boyfriend is obsessed with these meal replacement shakes by Huel. He has anywhere from 1 to 3 a day because he hates cooking, and he and his friends even plan to do an entire week of consuming nothing but Huel. How often should we be consuming meal replacement shakes, and can it truly provide all of the nutrients we need? You know, years ago, my friend Chris told me he wished that someone would invent something like People Chow, some sort of food product that would supply all of his nutritional needs without him having to make any decisions. He said he didn't want variety. He didn't need culinary excitement. As long as it didn't taste terrible, he could happily eat the same thing for every meal and would be glad just to never have to think about it again. Well, since then, several companies have tried to do just that. Soylent, named after a cult classic dystopian fantasy film, was an early entry into this market with an all-in-one powder that you mix with water or another liquid and that would theoretically meet all of your nutritional needs. Soylent caught on so quickly that early in the company's history, they were unable to manufacture it fast enough to meet demand. And that gave rise to a robust do-it-yourself community, which you can find online, that shares recipes for homemade Soylent-type formulas. Huel is another rising brand of all-in-one nutrition products, and this is the one that Emily's boyfriend is currently obsessed with. Now, theoretically, you could consume nothing but Soylent or Huel for weeks or even months. And online, you'll find a bunch of bloggers, biohackers, and journalists doing exactly that and reporting on their experiences. To my knowledge, all of them have survived their experiments without undue harm. But hey, this is not just about mere survival. These products claim to be so nutritionally complete and optimized that they actually represent an improvement over the imperfect and imbalanced diet that many of us eat. So let's take a closer look at the pros and the cons of all-in-one meal replacement powders and shakes, and then we'll do a side-by-side comparison of Soylent and Huel. We'll start with the pros. Number 1, they provide balanced and complete nutrition. If you consume 2,000 calories worth, or about 5 shakes, that should supply 100% of the vitamins and minerals considered to be essential. Now, depending on your baseline, this could be a big upgrade for you. Number 2, these are calorie and portion controlled, and many people find this to be an effective way of limiting their calorie intake. You simply figure out how many calories you need per meal or snack or day, then you translate that into a certain number of scoops, and you're done. These products also save time. When you add up the amount of time that most of us spend deciding what we're going to eat, buying food, preparing it, and cleaning up afterward, it turns out to be a significant portion of every day and week. With a meal replacement powder, you buy your powder online with a couple of clicks, you spend at most 10 minutes a day blending or shaking, and you have nothing more than a blender or a glass to clean up afterward. And finally, they reduce waste. As a society, we throw away about 1/3 of the food that we produce. Not only is this a waste of money and other resources, it contributes significantly to greenhouse gases and global warming. Meal replacement powders are shelf stable, they require no refrigeration, and they create very little packaging waste, especially if you buy the powders instead of the ready-to-drink products. Now, let's take a look at the disadvantages of meal replacement shakes. Number 1, boredom. Even if you like the taste of these shakes, drinking a shake several times a day as your sole or primary source of food and nutrition gets really monotonous. Obviously, people are going to have different thresholds for this. My friend Chris, for example, claims that it would not bother him to eat the same thing for every meal. Another downside for me is that every meal is essentially a dessert. Not only would I miss having a broader range of tastes, but I actually think this is a great way to cultivate a sweet tooth. In my work as a nutrition coach, I've observed that those who consume a lot of sweetened or artificially sweetened beverages often find whole foods like fresh fruits and vegetables unpalatable at least until they wean themselves off the sweet stuff. In order to limit the amount of added sugar they contain, most of these meal replacement formulas use artificial sweeteners. But these have drawbacks of their own, especially when you're consuming them all day, every day. For one thing, they can alter the composition of the gut microbiome in ways that predispose you toward weight gain. There's also the fact that chewing is important. There are times, such as after dental surgery, when a liquid diet is necessary. But our jaws are made for chewing, and when we don't use them, it can create dental and other health issues. As a matter of fact, I just read a fascinating book. It's called Jaws by orthodontist Sandra Kahn and evolutionary biologist Paul Ehrlich, in which they argue that eating all or mostly soft, mushy foods from an early age leads to malformation and misalignment of the teeth, problems with the bones and the muscles and the head and the neck, and that this is leading to an epidemic of constricted airways, poor sleep quality, and an increased risk of death. I got to tell you, it's a real page turner. Chewing also releases hormones that reduce appetite. You're likely to feel more satisfied for longer after eating solid food than you would after consuming the same foods in liquid form. So if you're on a calorie-restricted diet, you're likely to experience some degree of hunger. And if you're getting most or all of those calories from liquid meals, it could make a hard thing even harder. These products are also highly processed. Now, on the websites, you'll see pictures of fresh soybeans and whole oats and sunflowers and other wholesome-looking things. But hey, keep in mind, even Cheetos start out as an ear of corn and a sunflower seed, okay? These powders are not whole foods. They are isolates, extracts, fractions of whole foods, mixed with various gels, gums, natural and artificial flavors, synthetic sweeteners, and nutrients. And finally, there's more to nutrition than just 26 essential vitamins and minerals. These products take a very reductionist approach to nutrition, boiling everything down to a few dozen nutrients. But this does not begin to capture the benefits of a varied diet of whole foods. An orange provides so much more than just vitamin C, for example. It also provides flavonoids like quercetin and hesperetin, valuable nutrients that you're not going to find in these powders. Both Huel and Soylent offer a range of products, including powders, ready-to-drink options, a few different flavors, and so on. I compared the Huel vanilla powder to the Soylent original powder. Both contain 400 calories per serving. If you were living on nothing but these drinks, you'd need 4 to 8 of them a day, depending on your size. Both of these are appropriate for vegans. Soylent uses soy protein, and Huel uses pea and rice protein. Both of them also use sucralose, otherwise known as Splenda. Both products contain a reasonable balance of carbohydrate, protein, and fat, and both deliver all of the vitamins and minerals considered to be essential. In my opinion, Huel has a slight edge, at least on paper. It's higher in protein, fiber, and omega-3s. It's lower in added sugars, and at about $2 a meal, it's about 30% cheaper than Soylent. In the transcript for today's show, which is at quickanddirtytips.com, I've included a table with all of the nutritional details side by side, if you want to check that out. And now, here's my personal take. Well, first, a disclaimer. Food is not simply fuel for me. I enjoy cooking and eating a variety of different foods. I feel more satisfied when I chew my food rather than drink it. At best, I could see using this as an occasional meal replacement. But I have to tell you, the flavored and the sweetened powders and the pre-made drinks all taste terrible to me. As someone who tries to limit added sugars, I find most commercially sweetened foods to be too sweet for my taste. And because I generally do not consume artificial sweeteners, I find their hyper-sweetness particularly off-putting. If I were going to use a product like this, I would definitely choose the unsweetened and unflavored variety and maybe add some fresh fruit. Now, obviously, this adds steps and ingredients that for some people might defeat the whole purpose of a product like this. But once I've got the blender out, it would be just as easy to use a plain whey powder for protein and throw a tablespoon or two of flax seeds in for fiber and fat. And a basic daily multivitamin would supply the rest of the nutrients included in these products. But in my opinion, eating a variety of whole foods is a far superior way to cover those bases. So here's the bottom line. A diet of nothing but meal replacement shakes will meet your most important nutritional needs. And if your current diet is really poor, that might be more balanced and nutritious than what you're eating now. But these powders don't supply all of the nutrients and the benefits available from whole foods. Thanks to Emily and to her boyfriend for suggesting today's topic. If you have a topic to suggest or a question you'd like me to answer, call the Nutrition Diva listener line and leave me a message. I'd love to hear from you. The number is 443-961-6206, or you can send an email to nutrition@quickanddirtytips.com. If you'd like to learn more about my nutrition coaching programs, you'll find those on my website, nutritionovereasy.com. Just click on Work With Me. Our show is edited by Karen Hertzberg, produced by Nathan Sems. Morgan Ratner is our audience development manager. Michelle Margulis is our advertising manager. Emily Miller is our digital assistant. Kate Hines is our terrific intern. And Kathy Doyle is our director. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.